Hi guys, welcome to another episode of No Notions Travel, another part of the travel inclusivity videos we are working on at the moment. So today we have Pierre and we have Melissa.
Hi guys, my name is Pierre Yimbog. I'm the governance director from Black and Irish, and it's a pleasure to be invited on this podcast.
Hi guys, my name is Melissa Ndakengerwa. I'm the business coordinator for Black and Irish, and can't wait to get into this discussion.
So Pierre, have you traveled much in your travel experience? Where have you been, or are you an avid traveler?
Yeah, I would say, well, travel much. Obviously, pre-COVID, I would have traveled a bit more, as much as I could have. Most of the time, either on my own or with a group of friends. If they're going somewhere, to one of my friends who's actually one of the co-founders of Black and Irish, used to go over to Birmingham a lot. That was probably the more recent or often trips.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been to different places like Zurich, to Turkey on my own and things like that. And then my last trip, I guess, internal was around Ireland last summer, and then external, probably Birmingham actually again, probably was
Okay.
the last hurrah probably before COVID.
Yeah, it's actually not the worst place. I have family over there as well, so I'd be over and back a fair bit, and it's not a bad spot. So, and Melissa, have you traveled much?
Yeah, I absolutely love traveling. I've traveled. One of my favorite places I've traveled to was Thailand. I went there a few years ago, and 2019 I went to Morocco, and also I've been traveling as well within Europe as well. So basically every year I go traveling. So it's been kind of sad just during COVID and not having any travels to look forward to.
Yeah, it's been so tough not being able to have stuff booked. That's the worst part of it, nothing to look forward to.
So we're talking a lot in this episode about issues that might come up with being a person of color who, while traveling, and I'm just wondering, like, has being a person of color prevented you from traveling in the past or like in the future? Like, is there a place you might avoid just because it might be just a little bit hard to travel, maybe?
No, I've been lucky, fortunate, because of being a black person, I've not been prevented to travel, obviously, barring obviously visa and like passport issues. But putting that aside, I've not been prevented or stopped from traveling. And in terms of the future, I guess it's not that I'm afraid to go anywhere. I guess I'd be more apprehensive of the places I would choose to go. I guess we all have like our own list of places we want to visit. So, things probably get bumped down the list further. And I guess, probably one of them is America. It's not like at the start, maybe everybody would love to go there, like Disneyland, New York, all that kind of place. And I would like to go there one day, but if there's other places I can go for and get better experience, until things maybe calm down a bit there, and people are treated better, and not because of their color, that maybe might draw me to move or to go and visit there in more recent or in near to the future. But yeah.
Okay. And how about yourself, Melissa?
I'd be kind of the same with Pierre, as in the past haven't had any trouble traveling as a black person. All the places I've traveled to, I've not like received any like racist or discriminatory comments. So but I do think that I am very kind of apprehensive about the countries I choose to travel to, and just I think I will look up if it like what other black people have said, like reviews kind of a thing, about what black people have said about visiting that country, and as well just especially if like going alone, and also as a woman as well, just kind of seeing that kind of how women are treated there as well, and also like, is it safe enough for a woman, especially if you're going alone, and especially if a black woman as well, like will it be kind of like unsafe for me, and will I receive like kind of not like discriminatory comments, or kind of just kind of looks or stuff like that. So that's kind of what I would be apprehensive in the future. But I do like research and stuff, so I would usually gravitate towards more of those countries and more of those places to visit.
Yeah, I think it's a fair thing to say, particularly as well about being a woman. I always do that as well if I'm going somewhere alone, is to find out what it's actually like in that place.
So on that, like, is there any particular places that you just outright avoid after research, of course?
For me, I kind of would avoid kind of countries that are kind of like, as even like they don't support like LGBTQ or like women rights and stuff. Those would be my main two ones, just because like if I travel with friends as well, and they'd be in LGBTQ couples, it just wouldn't be safe to go there, and I don't think it'd be comfortable as well, and I wouldn't be comfortable there as well, and I wouldn't put myself in that surroundings as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
What about you,
And
Pierre?
Yeah, I guess it'd be pretty much similar too. Yeah, obviously if you look at I guess how the country stands in terms of among the world in terms of LGBTQ, women's rights, human rights in general. I know there's obviously also not also a travel fan, but also a big sports fan. So I also have to take that into consideration if I ever want to, go to a sporting event. I know always big issues, like Formula One, going to like, Saudi Arabia and those countries in the Middle East. I know like, big issues with Qatar, the World Cup there. There's even bigger issues, I guess, in any event that's been held. But yeah, taking those into considerations. But maybe hopefully as time goes on, that things will change and won't be such a barrier or a hindrance, because I don't want to avoid going to those countries just because it's the policy that the government run. It's not the people, because at the end I think there's a people and the culture that kind of makes a country. But if the policies are there that are hindering it, then I guess that's where we come in terms of where our involvement in politics or on the national stage to change that too.
yeah, no, definitely, you're 100% right there. There's still so many countries even in my own head that I wouldn't go to, because I know, so some of the laws there that if I was to be like, I wouldn't want to support it, because it's going against so many human rights. What would you fear if you were a person of color and you were traveling to any of these countries? This was definitely a question that Pierre brought up in our meeting last week that I'm curious to ask.
Well, so yeah, for myself, what I would fear probably would be either to lose my passport, because at the moment I just have my Irish passport. I'm very lucky for that. I'm originally born in Cameroon, but came here when I was very young, and I got my citizenship back in 2015. So I guess I've had travel with an Irish passport to different places, but since I have my Irish passport, I don't have a Cameroon passport, so I'm only restricted to one. And unfortunately, I know the saying or the way things go is probably a bit harder to prove. If you're going abroad and trying to prove to if to a police or if you've lost your passport, that you're actually from Ireland and you're from the European, and they're not going to try and deport you or send you back to Cameroon, which they actually technically can't. So I don't want to get into that kind of situation or issue. So that'd be my only fear of anything else. Else travel, but yeah, that'd be my biggest fear as a person of color traveling.
Okay, that's a good one. It was a really interesting point that I wouldn't have even known about the last time I was talking to you either. How about you, Melissa? Is there anything that you would fear if you were traveling?
I'd fear mostly just getting into like a racist like altercation kind of a thing, and even getting involved with like the police as well, just because you don't know how the police over in a different country like would react and stuff, and just getting into any kind of altercation or misunderstanding as well, just in case as well, like they don't believe that you're from Ireland, they think you stole the passport or something, something like that is like one of my biggest fears. Yeah.
Okay.
If someone who is a person of color is in a position of wanting to go away or abroad, like what would you recommend if they're like a little bit hesitant just because they're afraid of dealing with issues like that?
I guess one of the things, obviously, there's different ways people can travel. People can travel on their own, or people can travel in groups. But I guess if someone's apprehensive about traveling, probably if they're considering traveling on their own is probably to travel with someone else and someone they trust anyway, that, you know, they're not going to be one of those friends that just, yeah, I'll come on the trip with you, and once to get off the plane, you never see them again. Hopefully you don't have that many friends like that, but, you know, that could be a circumstance that you spend the time chasing or trying to keep up with your friend rather than being there with you to support you in case, you know, you come up against any kind of altercations or issues like that. So bring a trusted friend with you, and I guess until you build up the confidence or the experience, and in general, I guess I know you have the street sense, you know, when you're living at home, but also I guess you build up street sense when you're traveling, and, you know, being conscious of your safety, conscious of different cultures, you know, how to, you know, approach the police there, because, you know, it may be different to how they approach them here in Ireland. So, you know, you learn that probably by traveling, but I guess first traveling with someone else that you can trust before you go on your own. I guess that'd be the advice I would give.
Okay. Melissa?
Yeah. As like a Black woman, and especially traveling alone, I think like one of the good tips I would give is maybe being a bit more comfortable traveling in another county if you're from Ireland, traveling like within your own country first, to just getting comfortable being somewhere different but still similar, that kind of way, and then like starting small and then going abroad, because just traveling as a woman as well, like there's other issues that might occur, and you have to be really careful about just the little things, like making sure that no one knows you're alone, and kind of going around that, and making sure you know where your like hotel is. Always make sure like your phone is charged, just so you could get back from any other if you go off somewhere, you can always get back, and always have cash as well, just in case like your bag, just like your credit card or something gets stolen. But all these little tips might like help you and just get a better experience traveling abroad. But I definitely recommend, if you haven't traveled before, definitely travel like abroad before on your own. Definitely recommend starting small in like another county or a town over or something.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I moved away from home in Sligo, so it was completely different, and different like not culture, but like like completely different way of life than it was here, and so I built up that kind of confidence to traveling alone that way.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm taking a question from like the very bottom up, because I'm really curious to ask. Is there anything essentials that you would bring when you're traveling as a Black person that you could give advice to other Black people who are watching?
Yeah, definitely a passport and a visa as well, and just kind of have that on you as well, because in other countries, like the police can ask to see them. So always just kind of carry it around, and if you're staying in like hotels or Airbnb, they could be stolen as well. So always just have them with you and in a safe place. And nothing really I can think of like specific to a Black person. I would just say like your phone, money, having enough money, so if you get lost or anything, you're actually able to get back and not being stranded. And another thing would be kind of like those adapters as well.
Yeah.
And just to travel with them as well, because that's one thing I always pack as well. And if you don't buy them before you go, they're always cheaper in the country you go to rather like than the airport. So
okay. Yeah, no, definitely adapters are the absolute worst if you've forgotten them. They're very expensive. Yeah. And Pierre, have you anything else to add to that?
No, I think Melissa covered pretty much anything, but I guess for any individual, some different essentials for different people. Some people can live without their phones, some without their wallet, or some because their favorite hairbrush or some sort. So I guess wherever you're traveling, you consider what are the essentials. But I guess also maybe, I know don't like to be pessimistic, but think of the worst case scenario and what would you need if you ever got into difficult situation. Like Melissa said, yeah, the extra money or adapter, phone charger. So if you check off those kind of lists, and whether you need to get extra of those, I know some people have like a second phone that they just have as backup in case the first one day fails, a credit card, or no, you get one of those post office cheap loaded credit cards if all else fails, that kind of stuff. So it's a checklist of essentials that you need personally yourself, whether it be medication, visa, passport, and then what you may need if you ever were stuck. I think would hopefully make sure that you don't get into a terrible situation.
Melissa, I know you said you've traveled alone before, and Pierre, you said you traveled with groups. What's it like traveling with like
a group of white Irish people?
Group of white Irish people.
Is there any advice that you can give?
I've primarily traveled with like a group of white people, and I don't find it any different, but I would say that it's just with like your white if you're in a group with only white people and there's that one black friend, I definitely think that you need to be comfortable with your white friends that you're going with, and make sure that they're the kind of friends that you know that they'll have your back, and that you actually have had those like conversations around race as well, so that and that you know that they understand the just the things that may happen, and that you know that they'll support you and like have your back. And also I think it's just you have to be comfortable with your white friends that are going over. Like, I don't think you can go over with just a group of white friends that, or any friends really, that you've just met and then go traveling with them.
Okay, yeah.
I agree with Melissa too. Pretty much. You need to know who you're traveling with, and if a group of white people, you need to be comfortable with them. I guess if your best friends, but even at that, you like Melissa, you probably need to have that conversation, because we of course, since last year and since George Floyd's death and issues in America, we've all been trying to have those conversations with our friends. But I guess it's an ongoing conversation, especially probably different conversation in Ireland than also traveling, in terms of how do you approach that, because again, with the whole you don't know how the police will deal with it, what the culture is there like. So making sure that your friends are able to have your back and support you, because you don't want to get involved in an altercation, but you want to make sure your friend has your back and will be there to support you in going through whatever situation that does arise. But I guess for any white person, probably is just have that understanding that their experience will be different to a black person, especially if they're the only black person in the group. They can go off and most of the case scenario do what they like. Being the only black person in the group, you have to be extra apprehensive of the things that you may do that you may think it's normally crazy, but you could get yourself in trouble just because of your color and just because of the place you are. So they're the kind of things. So maybe even being double check sure of the things that you may want to do. But it's being knowing your friends and being there for you much as possible.
Okay.
Just another point as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just also having that conversation with your white friends on how, if there was a interaction, how you would like them to kind of approach it, or kind of react to it. Like, you wouldn't want them to react like severely, like badly, or like go get into a fight. They just kind of be aware that this is things that we as black people go through, and like as well we have the conversation, but some things are just not worth getting into physical violence with, and they just need to understand that that's not the reaction, that that it could escalate because of that reaction.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. That was actually going to be my next question, is what advice would you give somebody traveling in a group? And I think, making sure that it doesn't escalate any further than it already has is probably really good advice. And just, I know I had spoke to Pierre about it. I'm not sure about yourself, Melissa. I know that Pierre, you were saying that you have you can't get dual citizenship for Cameroon. So what is it like to travel with an Irish passport abroad?
I guess I have to say, it is one of the privileges that I have, is that I guess having an Irish passport is very travelable, if that's a word.
Yeah.
And then it's helpful that I can use that to get visas, even visas to get back home, also to Cameroon. But yeah, it does bring its benefits. But like I said earlier, I have to be mindful that I only have one passport to make sure I don't lose or put myself in difficult situation where I have to prove that I'm Irish. But yeah, it is helpful to have. That it's definitely, I guess, probably one of the benefits of traveling is having that to America, Australia, in places like that. I think I think Japan is meant to be one of the most travelable, so I assume Ireland is not too far off that as having the passport.
And how about yourself, Melissa? Do you have an Irish passport, or do you find it a benefit if you're traveling with the Irish passport if you were to travel anywhere?
Yeah, I've had like my Irish passport for most of my life, so I've always traveled with it, and I definitely agree with Pierre that it is a privilege to have an Irish passport, because it is definitely a lot more easier. It's a lot easier to travel with. Even remember one of a family trip I took a few years back to Africa. It was really easy to just go over with just getting a visa there as well. And also as well, we had a trip with my school to go over to Italy, which is within the EU, and because the Irish citizenship is part of the EU, there's no difficulty. But some of my friends had to get a visa and having to separate from your schoolmates to go through like a different passport control. Like, feel it definitely is a privilege to have an Irish passport.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I'd say that's very difficult if you are on a trip and somebody else has to get a visa for such like somewhere that's so close to home nearly, that having to travel is, imagine it is quite difficult.
So once this is all over and COVID's all gone, where's the first place you guys are going to go? Pierre, do you want to go first?
Yes, hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later, but I guess we live in hope at this stage. I'd love to go to France. I've not technically been there. I've stopped over in, I think, Paris, Beauvais. Ryanair stepped out the airport, so I guess technically somebody else can correct me if that's actually being in France or not. But yeah, I would like to. My older sister, she moved over there just recently, living there in south of France, so I'd like to visit her. And obviously, I know France is a different experience for Black people, so I know she's had it difficult there herself. So obviously, I want to be there and understand it, and be able to visit her, because it's been a few years since I haven't seen her. So yeah, that'll be one of my first trips.
Okay. And how about yourself, Melissa?
I'm already planning one.
Good. That's what we want to hear.
Hopefully with July, I'll be able to go over and visit my sister in London. And just kind of stay there for a while. I've already started with work and stuff, like I can work from there.
Yeah.
But hopefully that'll be one of my first trips. But I'm hoping to plan a few more and go somewhere warm, like for longer than 2 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, a sun holiday, and then I have so many trips planned.
Yeah, we're the exact same. We're waiting for the EU cert to like be official, and it's in the middle of Jack's weeks off from work, so we were gonna try and book something, but we're afraid to, just in case it it turns around and be like, oh, you actually have to wait a week for it to be official, and then that ruins the whole trip. So fingers crossed they'll bring it in soon, because I think everybody just wants to like be in a plane seat or on a ferry and just anywhere but Ireland right now.
Yeah, I can already imagine the airport being just flooded with people trying to
jump ship.
We'll take a boat, we'll take whatever, submarine, whatever's going, just
whatever. I'll pay whatever. I just want to be on a plane seat listening to somebody tell me safety information.
So guys, before we clock off there, I just want to ask, do you guys want to plug anything or share anything with our viewers, if there's anywhere you recommend for people to check out, just for inclusivity for being Black in Ireland I don't mean to date the video, but I know Black and Irish turned a year there, I think last week, was it? So I don't want to date the video, but congratulations, you guys. But if there's anywhere
congrats.
you want to check out, want to plug yourselves and Black and Irish, absolutely. And there's your chance.
Go for it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we're just over a year old. It's amazing. A year has flown in itself. I guess it was still middle of COVID, but as an organization that we've expanded and done so much over the last year. So yeah, well, no, we start as an Instagram page, but we also have like Facebook, a Twitter, a website, and we have a full team of volunteers and content creators. So yeah, just check us out on Facebook, Instagram, our website to see what we're doing and see how you can learn, get involved. Because that's what we're trying to show, is that trying to share the experience of Black and mixed race people, but also try and get as many people involved, try and improve their experiences and the nation as a whole, really.
Great. And I think that's why this video definitely goes hand in hand with you guys, because we're trying to do the exact same thing in regards to travel, and it's really important to us that we're representing everybody and the fact that everyone is equal, and we want to make everything as accessible as possible. So we do thank you both for coming on, because it's a huge insight for ourselves and a huge insight for our own viewers as well. We're really, really grateful for it.
We'll put all that in the description below. But guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great having you, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you want to keep up to date with our videos. Hit that bell button underneath, and like as well. And thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Bye.
Thank you.
You.